So last week we started the School of Marketplace Discipleship, and we look at what's actually one of the vitals that determines the existence of a business. And then I said that even though profit is the end goal of the business, but profit should not be the purpose of the business. Profit, so in the actual sense, profit may be, most especially, it is about money, right? Some businesses is not about money. The end goal of some businesses is not about money, but most businesses, the end goal of them is money. So I said that money is not the problem in business. Profit is not the problem in business. But one of the problem in business is that if your business exists because of profits, you may not last longer. So I said that one of the things that determines business profitability is value. And then we look at scriptures. We look at Matthew 5 verse 16, where the Bible says, we have light as children of God, and we must produce good works. So light and good works is what defines value as a Christian. Light, in the sense that you have the light that you can shine onto the darkness areas of a person's life or a group of people. Then we have good works. That means you can execute that light and present it in a very presentable way, and that is good works. And when you have light and you have good works, people are willing to pay for your service. They'll be willing to pay for your product. So I cited an example by saying, if someone is charging 50 naira for a particular service or a product before, if you have light and you have darkness, that same product or that same kind of service can be rendered at 150 naira. That is like 300% increase. Why? Because your light and your good works determines how much you charge. So at the end of the day, profit is not the problem. It is how much light and good works can you produce. And I said that as a believer, we are not lacking light, and we are not lacking light, and we are not lacking good works. We are not. So today we want to look at 3 drivers of value. 3 drivers of value. Now, you have light, you have good works. But what then drives your values? Number 1 is profitability. Is profitability. Now, at this stage, I assume that you don't have value problem. When I say value problem now, I'm saying you have light and you have good works, right? So what now drives your profit, your value? Number 1 is profitability. Profitability is saying, now if you charge 150, you charge $15,000 for a service or a product. That is not profit. That is not the money that you make on that service or on that product. So profitability is saying, what is my revenue? What is my expenses? So, for instance, now, if a company produces a product or render a service, and the service costs $15,000, for instance, that's not the profit of the company, right? So, and the expenses, all the expenses is now, say, $12,000, right? So the balance will not be what? 3,000. That is for a company. Another company now offers another service, and that service is now, let's say, $15,000 again, but the expenses, this is revenue, the money that comes to the company. The expenses is now, say, $5,000. Now, this guy has $10,000 profit, but this guy has 3,000. They are not doing the same business. Or let's even make it realistic enough. So let's say this company now make a sales of 10,000, and this guy, so he will have $5,000 profit. Now, if you hear how much this guy sells, let's say the person is selling a land. If you hear how much he sells this land, $15,000, you will think, this guy has a man. And this one now sells the same land at $10,000, right? Now, at the end of the day, the one that sells at $10,000 is still making more money than the one that sells at $15,000. So, one of the drivers of value is that when you're offering your value, your revenue and your expenses determines how profit the value you have, or what is the profit that you have placed on that value. So sometimes it's not doing much. It's not about doing much. It's about doing less. Then what is the profit I'm putting on my value? So what is the value and what is the profit I am putting on my value? So when you are producing your product or you are rendering your service, your revenue minus expenses now determines the profit that you have and determines your value. That is what they say, and they use to determine the value of a company or the value of a man. Do you understand? So everything that the person has, they subtract all the debt rather, and the whatever liabilities that he has, and then they remove it, and the remainder at the end of the day is what determines the value of that man. So what determines the value of your business is the moment you remove expenses from your revenue determines the value of your business. So indirectly, it's not about the volume sometimes. Sometimes it's not about the volume. So you can be having a revenue of 100 million naira, 1 billion naira, but what is your expenses? What are they saying? Are we together? So the next driver of value is growth. Your business will become dead if your value is not growing. Now, your business grows either by getting more customers or getting your existing customer to patronize you the more. So it's either the customers that you have a system. There can be growth if there's no system. If you don't have a system in your business, there can't be growth. So if you don't have a system in place to either keep your customer or get more customers rather, there can be growth, because it will have effect on your value. And value is about what? Profit. Value is about profit. So growth must be healthy Growth must have a system. Let's look at Luke 16, verse 10. Luke 16, verse 10. The Bible says, he who is faithful in little, that means in what is least, is faithful also in much. And he who is unjust in what is least is also in much. He who is faithful in what is least is also faithful in what is much. And he who is unjust in what is least is also unjust in what is much. What the Bible is saying is, the way you treat your one customer determines how you will treat your 10,000 customers. It's about growth. The way you treat your one customer determines how you will treat your 10,000 customers. See, if you are thinking that it's until when you have 10 million naira, 100 million in your account, that is when you are going to do a thing, or you are going to do this thing right, it's not true. The day you have that money, you will not do that thing right. The way you treat, you arrange, you take care of your Nokia touch lights, for instance, the same way you will treat when you buy an expensive phone. The same way you arrange your one-room apartment, the same way you will arrange your duplex when you have one. So it's a system. It's a culture. So what culture does your business has? What's the culture? When people come, how do you talk to them? How do you relate with them? What do they experience? If you are just about, oh yeah, pay now, you have not paid. You are talking, you are not into business. You are chasing a shadow. That's what you are doing. So if you are not serving your 10 customers right, you can't serve 10,000 customers right. So you must be intentional how you come about the growth in your business. You must be intentional. For instance, now, someone patronized you, let's say 10 months ago or 3 months ago, and the product they bought, the person bought, or the service the person you render to the person should have expired. Like should have finished. For instance, if it is the product, let's say the person is using let's say a toothpaste, for instance. At least after 3 months or 4 months, the toothpaste should have finished. The person should have gotten another one, whether from you, from any other person. It is your responsibility to go back and ask the person, how are you doing? I just want to check up on you. Are you still using the product, or have you finished that service, for instance? That is a system. That is a culture. That is growth. The third drivers of value is risk. Risk. What we are saying here is, at what length can people risk their money, their life, their company with you? Are you getting what we are saying? Can they trust you? That's what we are saying. Can they trust you to deliver? Value is driven by profitability, by growth, by risk, which means by what? Trust. Is to be chosen rather than great riches, loving favor rather than silver and go. If you are doing a business as a Christian, this Proverbs 21 verse 1, 22 verse 1 should be your motto. You know what we call motto? Abi? I have a name to protect. So when that name is mentioned in the ears of others, anywhere, they know they can risk their money, their life with you. So they can give you their money, they can give you their life because they trust you to deliver. Look at Nokia, for instance. Nokia is really no more in existence. Am I right? Why? Because the success of yesterday does not guarantee the success of today. There's a level of adaptability that you must be able to adapt. Because you deliver well yesterday does not mean that you're going to deliver well tomorrow. You must maintain that consistency. Today's success does not guarantee tomorrow's relevance. Even though if Nokia gives you their phone today, you still be able to call. You still be able to what? To browse. But the relevance is not there. Because the adaptability is not there. It's not there. Why? 1 Chronicles 12 verse 32. The Bible spoke about the sons of Issachar. Verse 32. It says, of the sons of Issachar who had understanding of the times, to know what Israel ought to do, their chiefs were 200, and all their brethren were at their command. See, because you are selling a product yesterday, 3 months ago, 6 months ago, and it was selling, does not mean that in the next 3 months, 6 months, the product will still be selling. That is what Christian brings into business. You are not bringing because everybody is producing cream. You too are producing cream. No, that does not mean that you will sell. The guarantee that you will sell because you are bringing something that is different to what others are bringing into the market. You must act like the sons of Issachar. They understand times and season. They understand what they need to do per time. So you should know that this service that I'm rendering, will it still be selling now? Sons of Issachar. Now, the difference between a believer that is doing a business and an unbeliever is you showing forth your should I say, I don't want to say identity or genealogy of being the sons of Issachar, but showing the fact that you're a believer, you're able to discern and understand times and season. The Bible says in Ecclesiastes that there's a time for everything. Time to sow and time to reap. Time to what again? Time to sleep and time to wake. Time to gather and time to scatter. No law says that this is the only service that you must render in your life. No law says that this is the only business you must do in your life. No law says that this is the only thing you must. As a matter of fact, God created us with many abilities. We were not created with one ability. Many abilities. So I can be a pastor and I'm doing business and I'm working 9 to 5 and I'm doing all kinds of jobs. It does not. 80% it does not. The remaining 20% that I'm removing is because sometimes God will say, don't do it. It's not because you can't do it. Because of what we call consecration. But we are not talking about consecration now. We are not talking about consecration now. Let's focus on the fact that we are humans and we have the ability to do many things. Do you know how many things Adam did in the Garden of Eden? Because you're a Christian does not mean that you can't do any other thing. That you have to be in church from morning to night. You are deceiving yourself. As a matter of fact, you are a taboo to the body of Christ. You are in church I'm not saying if you are working in church, you can be a worker in church. Maybe you are working in the church office, for instance. You are the secretary, you are the admin. That's your own place of work. But you are not part of the worker of the church. You say you just want to be in the house of the Lord. Do you know what it means to be in the house of the Lord? You can be in your house and still be in the house of the Lord. Are we together? So, value determines your cash flow and your future. What is coming in to you now? Ask yourself, can it give you future? There are some businesses that 2, 3, 5 years ago, they were booming. But when AI started reigning, those businesses were no more. That's what we were saying. Before 2020, there were businesses that were booming. But when COVID came, do you know that before COVID, God would have spoken to some people about a business idea before COVID. But because they are not discerning enough. So when COVID came, when they were supposed to now be the king of the jungle, they were nowhere to be found. Before, how many churches were live streaming their services before COVID? But when COVID came, all of a sudden, churches that were saying that internet is from the devil, clinical from the devil, were using it. Is it from the devil? So value will determine your current cash flow and then your future. Now let's look at one of the keys that sustains your business. Number 1, promise. Number 1, promise. Number 2, trust. Number 3, character. Trust, promise, character. When you promise a thing, make sure that you deliver. Matthew 5:37. Matthew 5:37. Matthew 5:37. It says, but let your yes be yes, and your no be no, for whatever is more than this is from the evil one. Oh yeah. Bible says, Jesus was speaking here. Let your yes be yes, and your no is no. But if your statement is contradicting, when you are saying yes, it means no. And when you are saying no, it means yes, you are evil. So, do not advertise what you cannot deliver. Do not promise a delivery date that you already know you cannot meet. Do not inflate projections to attract investors. There are many people like that. There's a level of percentage you can put on business that you know that, okay, if I sell it at this amount, you see a measure. For instance, now, I do electronics, embedded system. If I want to charge you, so let's say I do embedded system now. If the total component that I need to build a project, a product, a gadget, and an electronics is, say, 50,000 naira. The component alone, I'm not going to charge 50,000 naira for it. Why? Because during development, components can get burnt. So am I going to call you and to come and pay another money? Will you pay? No. So I would rather charge ×2 or ×3 of that money. I will not add my own workmanship on it. Because sometimes there are some unforeseen circumstances. While you are soldering this thing together, you just hear, pow! And the component that will not get burnt is a component that worth 50k, or that worth 20k, or that worth 30k. If I call you and say, sorry, while I was doing your project, this thing got burnt. We need another addition of 30k. Will you give me? What will you say? You have paid me, so I should go and use my money to sponsor your project. No, it's not possible. So in that way, if I give you a price, it means that I factor in some circumstances, unforeseen circumstances in that development. So if I charge 150, just know that I've doubled it and then had my own workmanship on it. And that's the end of the story. So lastly, what is value? Value is service plus steward plus sustainability plus scale plus staying trustworthy. I repeat, value is service. You have to serve. Value is steward. Value is sustainability. Value is scalability. Value is being trustworthy. Service is saying you have to solve genuine problems for people. Steward is saying you have to know how to manage people, how to manage money, how to manage opportunities, how to manage resources faithfully. Sustainability is saying you are building profitable and healthy cash flow. Scaling is saying you are growing your impact and your reach and the reach of the value that you are creating. And then staying trustworthy means you keep to promises and you manage risks. Everything you do should ultimately operate under one objective, and that is to do what? To glorify God in heaven. To glorify God where? In heaven. All right. See you next week.